Facial expression and culture. There is not a global facial expression repertory, even when all the people around the world use facial expressions. There is not a global repertory of that. It depends on the culture. We use facial expressions to represent emotions or feelings that we have in the moment, like happiness, sadness, maybe anger, surprise, fear, and other emotions. It is also a way to communicate with others in addition to verbal communication, and it helps us to interpret the message. Every culture interprets facial expressions in different ways.
Kinds of smiles: polite smile, embarrassed smile, fake smile, happy smile or genuine smile, loving smile, synchronous smile.
Smiling and multiculturalism. As we saw at the beginning, the facial expressions are so important for communicating with other people, but those expressions are used differently depending on the culture. Smiling is a big way of facial expression, but even when all human beings smile, the act of smiling is not a universal culture. It doesn't have just one meaning.
Pro-smiling cultures: smiling as a mark of respect to another person. In most of the Western cultures, it's important to smile even if the person is unfamiliar to you. It's a way to show that you're enjoying life. It's a diplomatic tool. It helps you to look prettier.
Non-smiling cultures. It could be strange for us, but there are cultures where smiling is not always a good initial fact. In those places, people use uh, to show fewer emotions, so they are more honest and they create stronger relationships. Some of those countries are Japan, Russia, India, and Israel. One of the biggest examples of misunderstanding is Japanese and American children. The Japanese children used to smile when they are being scolded as a sign of respect to their elders, but Anglo teachers interpret that expression as rudeness. Also, the adults in Japan used to smile even in funerals because they use that smile like a way to inflict his or her sorrow upon others. And that is not that they are hurt stronger or something like that. They are just respectful. There is also an example of cross-cultural misunderstanding portrayed in the movie Platoon, where a Vietnamese peasant is brutally beat to death because he just kept smiling at American soldiers in his attempts to be ingratiating. But one of the soldiers interpreted that as a man just laughing at them. So it was like a bad signal and unrespectful for him, so he killed that man. We find another example of those misunderstandings in Israeli children and adults. They are somehow less than American, but it is not because of the war in Israel or something like that, as it is thought. But it is not the Israeli children who don't smile, it is Israeli Jewish children who don't. So it must be something about their religion or their culture. Americans think that Jews are rude and hostile because they don't smile. And in that way, Jews think that Americans are insincere because they smile too much.
Cross-cultural misunderstanding, prejudice about visiting new countries, underestimate other person's value, violence and bullying, smiling as a social norm.
So we conclude that nobody is wrong or right. It is just all about cultural differences.